All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. If everybody can have a seat, shut that door back there for me, please. All right, first up, we have Senate nominee 7, Lee McDevitt for Brandon, Mississippi for the Commercial Radio Service as the Mississippi Law Enforcement Officers Association representative, 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2023, and ending in June 30th, 2027. Mr. Lee, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And you are a reappointment, correct?
Yes, sir, I am. Good morning, senators. How are y'all doing this morning? I'm currently an investigator with the Mississippi Attorney General's office. I have been in law enforcement 23 years. I started my career in Monroe County after graduating from the University of Mississippi. If you're state fans, please don't hold that against me. Y'all got us last night in basketball, so I don't want anybody to be upset with me. I've spent my whole career with pretty much the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, the Mississippi Attorney General's office. I was a federal task force agent with HSI and with the Food and Drug Administration, where I currently reside. And I have been on the board now for 4 years, appointed after being president of the State Law Enforcement Officers Association.
I read through your peer report and I did not see anything that was alarming. Does the committee have any questions for Mr. McDevitt? Senator McMahon.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to point out to Mr. McDevitt that you're required to file a statement of economic interest. And Pierre says you've not done so yet, sir. Just wanted to be sure you're aware of that.
Yes, sir, Mr. McMahon. I filed one when I first got on, and I will catch my economic interest statement up. But there is no, other than being a law enforcement officer, there should not be any issue there. But I will get that filed, sir.
All right. Any other questions from the committee? I just want to ask before we take a vote that you will not do anything that will embarrass the committee or the governor.
Yes, sir. I promise, being in a political office with the Attorney General, I promise y'all I won't embarrass y'all or him or the state of Mississippi, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. All those in favor? Opposed? All right. The nomination carries. Congratulations.
Thanks, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day.
All right. You gonna switch to the next thing? All right, Ms. Rogers, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Rogers, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, all right. So this is Senate nomination 8. This is a reappointment, and it is for the Commercial Mobile Radio Services Board from the Mississippi 911 Coordinators Association, 4-year term. And looking through the peer report, there were a couple of things in the peer report that stood out, but I have followed up and found out that these issues have been resolved. And if there are any questions from the committee, anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Senator Findle again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being with us. I was just curious, what does the Commercial Mobile Radio Service Board actually do? I'm new to this committee, so I'm not as familiar with that particular body and its important work.
The CMRS board takes in the funding for surcharges on your 911 bills and sends the money back to the counties based on either population or residents. On prepaid, it's by census, and on postpaid, it's by location of residence. Then there is also a 30% portion that is kept for the carriers.
And how much money does that typically generate in any given year if you have a ballpark figure?
Last year it was 4 million. Right now we have about 79 million in funds.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion? Motion to advise and consent. We have a motion. We do advise and consent. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, we have one present. All right, motion carries. All right, Senate Bill 2283. This is the Public Service Commission. It extends the repealer on the commission. And that's all the bill does. Do I have any questions? The motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. All right, Senate Bill 2454. This is the Mississippi Gulf Coast Regional Utility Act. This was created after Katrina and no longer is needed. I extended the repealer on it last year, not knowing that the board was dissolving. So we are going to set the repeal date on July 1st, 2024. Do we have any questions? Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, next bill is Senate Bill 2453, and I'm going to recognize Senator Whaley to explain.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, committee, for allowing me to come before you and present this bill. Senate Bill 2453 basically grants the Public Service Committee to be able to investigate a municipal utility company that services an area outside of their city limits greater than a mile for inadequate service. And if, through the investigation, if they find that there's inadequate service not being provided, that they can modify their certificated areas. And also it says that whenever there is a receivership for the owned property, that whoever the receiver is will assume the responsibilities of the obligations that the municipality had. And that's a basic explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? Senator Fellegane.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Senator Whaley. So my experience is if you're trying to have a certificated area outside of the 1 mile radius, you have to petition the Public Service Commission for the ability to offer those services. Is that right?
It is currently like that, but what this is, the issue with this is, prior to this, there were some systems that had been grandfathered in, and a system within my district is one of those, and there's absolutely nothing on the books currently to give that system any help, and this is an attempt to try to help the constituents within that area.
So will this allow them to continue to be grandfathered in, or is this removing the certification if the services aren't provided?
This will be removing the certification when they find that the service is not being provided, the adequate service, and then they would be able to reallocate that certificated area.
That was my question. So if you remove it, are those folks left without service, or do they immediately get absorbed by the neighboring certificated area?
Neighboring cooperatives, yes, sir.
Would they have to, so what's the interplay between those two? Does that cooperative get notified and asked?
Yes, that cooperative would have to be in agreement before that. Of course, they're not going to just give them to somebody that doesn't want them. They would have to be in agreement with
So
that.
in the event, I guess, however unlikely that would be, is there a possibility that those people get just left in a donut hole where the new area doesn't want them, the old area can't provide service to them, so they're just out in a desert of no service?
Well, we would hope that that wouldn't happen, and I think that if that was a possibility of happening, we would have to look at some other issues. But what I'm understanding is that's not an issue.
And my assumption would be that the PSC would take that into consideration before granting the decertification request.
I would surely hope so. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the bill? Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Before we rise and report, I do want to put on record that Senate nomination 7, there was a motion to advise and consent from Senator McCon over here. Rise and report. All those in favor?